What's better on a nice warm summer's evening than a cool glass of homebrewed beer? Well, how about that glass of beer and some delicious homemade beer snacks? Hi everyone, so it's something a little bit different on this one, food-based video. I've done a couple of food videos before and another kind of beer snacks type thing with the pork scratchings video that some of you may have watched. But I've recently been getting into barbecue foods and smoking foods and cold smoking and all that kind of stuff, mostly off the back of getting a Kamado grill, which is a great bit of kit. And I was lucky enough to pick up one of the Aldi ones, which are a bit cheaper than some of the more expensive brands this summer. So I've been playing around with that a lot and also using it for, as I said, kind of as a cold smoking chamber to do various things, one of which is the smoky barbecue nuts that I'm going to talk to you about in this video. So yeah, I've done a couple of food videos before. If you want to see more of this sort of content, let me know. There will be various other things that I'm doing at the moment that I might do videos on. I'm having a go at bacon making and things like that. So let me know if you like this video and if you want to see more of that sort of stuff. But this one's just gonna be a quick one going through how I made these smoky barbecue nuts and yeah, maybe a little taste test at the end. Cheers. So first things first, you're going to want to get yourself some nuts, obviously. Now I went for the mixed bag here, which is just a bit of variety for the different types. Obviously, if you prefer one particular type of nut, you can go with that if you like, whatever floats your boat. So I've got the oven preheating here to about 170 centigrade, and we're just going to toast those nuts for about 5 to 10 minutes. You want to keep a close eye on them because if they go over, then they will taste burnt pretty quickly. So you're just looking for a very light kind of toasting on them. In the meantime, we're melting even a little bit of butter in the pan. We're just going to be using that to coat the nuts. You just need a small amount, so a knob of butter. I didn't weigh it out, but it's probably about 10 to 20 grams, something like that. So these are the nuts after about 7 or 8 minutes, I think, and you can just see it's starting to take a little bit of colour on some of them. So the cashews are the ones that seem to colour up first, as you can see here, and you're just literally looking for that tiny little bit of colour change on them and then take them out. So if anything starts actually turning darker brown, that's probably gone a little bit too far and will taste a little bit on the burnt side. So I'm just tossing them up in the butter here to coat them in that. You just need a thin film of that over them to help the rub or whatever spices you're applying to stick onto the nuts when you add that on in a minute. And you don't have to use butter here, so you could do oil or whatever you want, but it's just going to help your spices like the ones we've got here to stick onto the nuts. So this is some barbecue rub that I mixed up myself. You could use a pre-made rub, you could do something else entirely, so it doesn't have to be barbecue rub. You could just do salt even, or a mixture of other spices. So a bit of salt and pepper would probably still be nice just with the smokiness as well. But for these ones I wanted to get that sort of barbecue flavour in there, so I've added a couple of tablespoons roughly of the rub and mix that in. Just add as much as you need really to coat all of the nuts to a decent level. I had 2 of those packets in here, so that was about 400 grams in total, so I think 2 or 3 tablespoons was enough for that. You might want to do a little taste test at this point just to check your seasoning levels, so you can top up on different spices if you want to. I think these ones needed a bit more salt, so I just ground in a little bit more salt. That will depend on the seasoning level in your rub, if you're using a rub or if you've made it yourself. And then we can do some smoking on them. So I'm using one of these ProQ cold smoke generators, which are a great bit of kit. You don't have to have a dedicated smoking chamber for these, so I'm going to use that in the Kamado grill that I've got, obviously not lit, but just use that as a smoking chamber. So spread the nuts out on some sort of baking tray or something, light your smoker up and put the nuts in basically, and close it up. So you don't have to do the smoking step. The nuts are actually pretty good as they are with the spices on them already, but the smokiness for me on these just adds that little extra depth of flavour and tastiness, which is worth the effort. So and it was just something for me to experiment with using the cold smoker. So get it in there. You want about 2 to 4 hours depending on how much smoke you want on them. If you want them really smoky, you can go a bit longer. With the applewood I did about 2 hours. You could probably go a bit further with the applewood. I did it for 4 with oak before, and I found that to be a little bit full on with the smoke flavour, but they were still nice. So yeah, you can see the smoke's really going now. I've also got a couple of blocks of cheddar in there for some nice applewood smoked cheddar, so you can fill the smoke chamber up with more than one thing while you're doing this sort of stuff. So that's after a couple of hours in the smoke. They do take on a little bit more colour while they're smoking. The longer you put them in for, the more of that you'll get. So it's just a slight bit of extra colour on these, and then I bagged them up ready for consumption at a later date. So now we've gone through the recipe and the process, let's just have a quick taster of these. So you can have a little close up there and see what they look like. The aroma off of these, you definitely get that nice sort of smoke pit kind of smokiness coming off of it. The applewood that I did these ones with isn't too intense, so it's not like real bonfire kind of smoke flavour. It's a little bit softer and sweeter on that aroma side of things. And yeah, I've got to say, flavour wise, it's nice. The smokiness is there. It's not too in your face, so you can still taste the barbecue rub on there too. So there's some nice spice flavours there, but again, not too hot. A little bit of salty and a little bit sweet as well from the sugar in the rub. So they're just really tasty, I think, and perfect thing to accompany a nice glass of homebrew. Cheers.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, you know, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.